亲爱的网友朋友，大家好。
Hello everyone.
今天呢，咱们又继续讲解介绍一下关于忧郁症这个话题。
Today we will continue our discussions about depressions.
讲一下对忧郁症的大概的一个认识。
I think broadly speaking, last week we talked about depressions, an overview of depressions. And today we're going to talk about how to overcome depressions. Before I share with you the methods,
以我的眼光来看待这个忧郁症这个形成和出现的就是大概的原因。
I'm going to share with you the broad categories, what's the criteria of that.
可能来自于遗传。
First, I think most of you know that it's because of heredity.
每个人身体中就是可能有各种各样遗传的病。
Because all of us, we have different type, inherited different type of disease.
各类的癌症。
So, for example, various types of cancers,
甚至是羊角风精神不好，肾脏、肺炎胃病都可能的。
there could be any other reasons, any specific reasons.
就是但是呢，通常呢，在2、3代以内的这个长辈当中，如果有的疾病来说的话呢，就有可能会在我们后代身上。
But a lot of time, if our ancestors have some of this disease, it may appear on
或者
us.
是说他到了一个你这个孩子到了一定的年龄的时候，
Say, for example, when you reach a very specific age,
包括当然遇上一点什么事情，
or something happens, like you may
这个
reach a
忧郁症
certain
的
stimulus,
这个基因遗传的比较强大，比较明显。
and the genetic is the genes part is quite strong, and there's sudden this outbreak of it.
我认为的
So when the times comes, it will erupt without any external stimulations as well.
我发现就是有的人而且这个比例还挺高的有的人先天性的就是好像能量不足。
I also find that, and a very high proportion of these people is that, for whatever reasons, depressions will appear, and they seem to have low energy level.
从小就觉得腰痛。
For example, some experience pain at the waist, and some kids they naturally look very pale, or they have prolonged fatigues or illness.
对，通常来说这就是能量不足。
And yes, usually they means that the person has low level of energy. But for depression,
忧郁症他当得这个病的时候，他就会因为能量不足。
a high proportion of people, when they have depressions, they start to have low energy level.
大概就是这样子。
And that also caused the depression to be even worse. And third category, very broad category,
叫大事件的
it is due to some major event as a stimulus.
比如说亲人突然间
For example, the death of loved ones,
最爱你的妈妈去世，
or the one that your mom who loved you the most suddenly died.
父母关系比较密切的子女，
Especially when you have a very strong bonds with your
有的就是
parents.
真的就是父母去世这种刺激呢，带着让某些孩子就好像一下也丢了魂儿一样。
So usually when such major life events happens, the kids, when they suddenly lose a loved one, lose their
就是
support,
这是一种很
they seem to lose their soul as well. And this is actually very
之
common.
后就可能会有，比如说离婚了，
And after that, they may end up in divorce,
赔钱破产了，
or they may even lose
比如
money
说你家里一
or
共有100
bankruptcy.
万块钱，就愣给都赔了，就一笔生意快速就给赔了。
Or you suddenly
接
lost
下来大家
a business
家里都没
and lost
吃饭
substantial wealth.
那这样的刺激这个是受不了的，非常打击。那么再低一点的话，也是失业。
Sometimes, because of loss of jobs like unemployment, can also cause
那你
that.
突然之间失
Imagine
业
that you are the
尤
sole
其是你的
breadwinner.
工作还
And if you
有
suddenly
相当
lose the
高的
jobs,
收入
and
家
imagine
庭里
that
头
you
呢
have
有
a
超过
good
7年以
salary,
上的全家人都依赖着你这个工资，
and everyone
来做
rely
幸
on
福的
your
生活
salaries to provide for the
越
family.
是依赖你，
So
而且
the
有
more
一定
they
的
reliance
时
on
间
you,
持久性，
and
一
if
旦
they
失
have
业
been
之后
relying on you for a very
你
long
的
time,
精神打击
and
受
if you
不了
suddenly lose the
就
jobs,
有可能会
it will
出
create
现
a lot
你
of
开始忧郁
stress,
住了
and that
对
also can be
对
a
失
cause
业
of
也一样
depressions. Some is due to some natural disasters, like earthquake or major fire in your community, or you witness some people died as a result of the natural disasters, and your world suddenly shattered from a good world to something that's very devastating. And also there's something that's very common these days is actually traffic accidents. Especially if you witness someone who died on the spot of a traffic accident. And the scenes can be very horrifying. In fact, if you look at movies, they don't really play up these scenes. And imagine that if you were there and you personally witnessed that, it will cause very negative impact on you and affect your emotions. And for some people, but this is very rarely, but they have a few positive stimulus. Someone shared with me a story. There is a person called Fan Jingzong, and he has been taking examinations for many years because he couldn't reach the certain mark level. He was not successful in his examinations. And after many attempts, suddenly once the government sent troops of people to congratulate him on his success in his final imperial examinations. So he got shocked. So not only just negative events that can be a form of stimulus, even if it's positive events, can also have such stimulus as well. So there was also an incident where this person, he's supposed to, on his way back when he was riding a bicycle, but he was overjoyed and it was excessive. He had a heart attack and he died on his way home. And some who even laughed to death. And I think these are all very common. Or people who get married and they are so happy, overjoyed, they may also have a sudden heart attack. That could happen as well. And these are all very joyful events. So both negative and positive type of stimulus, it can also cause it. And the other one is buying lottery. Actually, a lot of government, they have a lottery systems whereby they actually to help those poor and the weak. In China, there's this type of games is called Guaguale. So they have all the numbers printed on it, and you just scrape some of the words, and if you match, you will win some money. And they will actually announce on the radio what is the winning numbers. Actually, if you win $100, $200 in the US, it's fine. But if you win a lot more in the 10,000s or even to the millions, you will be very negative. And fourth, the reason why they have some mental breakdown, personally, I think, in Buddhism, and I think that's also what Buddhas believe in. Almost everyone, a very important component, is your view of the world. It is how much insight you have. It is also your value systems or your spiritual elevations. Your point of view of the world or your worldview. So you look at it from a high perspective. If you can see very far, you'll be able to see very wide view. That's the perceptions of the world that can be very wide, worldly view. Because when you climb up higher, closer to the peak, you will have less hindrance and you'll be able to see further distance.
有很多人哈，就是人的这个思想境界看的这个高度、广度、深度是有很大的差别的。
So a lot of time, there's actually a difference between what you see among people. People who are more cultivated, people who have more worldly experience.
那么见过世面的人呢，通常
These people tend to be more insightful. They will not be too petty, and especially when you watch some movies, a lot of highly cultivated people, you find that they are men of few words, but once they speak to the point. It is just like when you build a very high-rise buildings. And say, for example, there are two farmers that stays in the same village. They are good neighbors. Say, for example, if the chickens from the Zhang families go to the Li families to lay eggs. And then because of this, the families may end up in a quarrel. Imagine that the wives of the two families start to fight, and then the husbands join in the fight. And then they fight, and then they had the accidents, and somebody killed the other person. So they asked someone to be a judge, and this person has been living in the cities for many years. And when the person comes, and the person may just say, well, it's just about a chicken. So what about you pay the money? Do you still want to fight over it? He may actually explain that their actions is like a fool. You may tell them that you are such neighbors, you are living so close to one another, why should you use such a small matter to affect your relationships? If there's something that happens to your family, who can help you the most? It's still your neighbors. So if you have good relationships, what happens? Whenever you meet problems or troubles, you will help one another. There is a saying that the close neighbors are better than distant kin. And you already have grandchildren. Why are you make such a foolish decisions? So in the end, they decided to not to let the matter rest. So two small families are like that. What about countries? Imagine two countries, they are close to one another and they start fighting with one another. So it is important for you to stand on the elevated ground and view things. So now it's not about our health. We are talking about so a lot of time, because of such matters, it affects you, affect your mental states. It may also affect your mood. But all this is something that you have to learn. It doesn't mean that you will naturally have it. So your worldview, your point of view is something it's not born with, it's something that you have to nurture. So how can you help yourself? Maybe you can listen to my live broadcast. Maybe I can help you to expand your view of the world. And then you'll be able to gain a new insights. Once you gain the new insights, once you reach a higher level, you definitely will change your view of the world. Once you get used to it and constantly reminding yourself. So that is your worldview. So because your view of the world tends to be on the elevated level, it's unlikely that you will be angry easily. So if I fight with people, do you think I'll be angry? What do you think? Yes, you'll be angry, right? So that is a very low level. What about high level? Because they have such high views, such high worldview. In the human histories, do we ever have time whereby we stop getting into a war? So if you treat the war as a type of game, and if his involvement in the war is more like a form of games. So they have no feelings when the families have someone who died in the battlefield. He just treat it as well. That is the natural occurrence. It's just it happens earlier. So the higher our mental state is, the more difficult we'll get sick. Because the lowest level, you will be a successful business person, or even a cultivator, or even a very, very strong political leaders. It doesn't matter what is your positions, but we must learn to elevate our worldview, so that once we have an elevated worldview, we will not be affected by the daily mundane matters. Fifth, the other reason, it is not about your current life, it's about your past life, and that's karma. The moment you are delivered, you have this soul attached to this body. Your soul or your spirit will bring with you all the karma from your past lives. And that's your karmic debts. You bring with you all the karmic debts. Because of your karmic debts, it affects your life, your existing conditions, your mental capacities, your life developments. So these are something that are certain. Or broadly speaking, they have all been fixed. Probably about 90%. And this stems from your past life, the karmic debts accumulated from your past lives. Because when you're born, you have not done anything. Maybe there's something that are related to their parents. And because of your parents' karmic debts, and that's why you are ill. So because of this karmic debts, it's also interlinked with the relationships with your family members and your loved ones and your friends. So everything that happens to you in this life, whether it's good or bad, that's because of this karma. Maybe some people, even by looking at the beautiful flowers, blooming flowers, they can have depressions. Or someone who suddenly shouts, you got a fright, and then you have depressions. So you have a life filled with sickness.
这种忧郁症的大概的成因
So
来
I
源。
mentioned broadly different categories typed of depressions.
所以为了让你呈现到什么时候，
So
能让
because
你
of
财
this
富
karmic
失去，
debts,
你精神
when
错
will
乱，
it
精神
continue?
错乱你就会做
So
所有的
maybe
错
you may have some
所以为什么很多
delusions,
人富有了，
diseases.
赚钱那么难，对不对？
Why is it that some
积
people
累了
find that
10
it's so
几年到
difficult
30几年的
to
财富，
build wealth?
一夜之间投资全，
Say, for example, you
对不
work
对？
so hard to build your
这就
wealth
其实
and
是
you
业的
suddenly
呈现。
lost all your investment
当这个业力
overnight.
呈现，你没
That
有
is
去
also
弥
a
补它的时候，
manifestations of your
到
karmic
那个
debts.
时候，就有点像鬼打墙一样，就好像你是中了邪一
It
样。
seems like
平常那么聪明，到
you
那个
became
时候
insane at a certain moment. You are very
达到
smart
什么程度
normally,
呢？人家拿一块烂铜，你就觉得这是真的纯
and
金的，
even
甚
like
至用牙试一下，
the
咬出印
actions
来。
that you did
等
is
买完了之后，把
is
钱交
unbelievable.
进
You
去
go
了，
and buy
再咬
something
不动了，才发现是铜。
and you thought
真的
that
会
it
这样。
is very precious
就好像
and
有一种魔
expensive
鬼
metal,
障碍住你的
but
双眼，
after you bought it,
而且
then
没
you
有人
realize
设
that it's
设计来
worthless.
骗你，
So it
就
seems
自
like
己
there's
能
something that
设
blur
一个
your
骗
visions,
局，
blur
把
your
自己给骗
judgments.
了。
You cannot make
这
that
样，
decisions.
这都是业的呈
And
现
that's
啊。
all manifestations
所
of
以
the
呢，
karmic
我
debts.
们还需要说，让自己的人生更好的话，
And
要
that's
多
why
做
if you
善
want
事
your
哈，
life to be
心怀
better,
善念才更好
you
哈。
must be able to accumulate more
这个业力
kindness,
的
more
呈现还
kind
会，
deeds.
我在研究它哈。
I'm
因为
still
很
trying
多
to
有
research a
容易
lot
产生
more
忧郁
about
症
the
的人
karmic
哈，
debts
其
because a
实
lot
还
of
有一些
people who have
相貌的外
depressions,
在特征。
they do have some facial features.
因为我知道大家也不爱听我讲那个相，因为
Because
我是外
I
行
know
人，
that you don't
一
really
讲
like to
相
hear
大
me
家说
talk
非常
about the
非
facial
常说
features
别
because
人，
that is
所以我也就不
not
讲
my
啊。
my
所以
level
我
of
就在说哈，
expertise.
我们可以小范围说，
But we
所以
can
有
talk
忧郁症的
very
人相当中可能带哪些
we can
内容
talk
哈？
some we can have some
你
generic
看我们的留言哈。
generic talks about what if a person have depressions, what type of sign will appears in the facial features. Actually, masters, I'm sure a lot of our online friends are very excited and they want to know whether there are some specific features.
忧郁症真正有哪些确定的因素？
哦，
我们如果从相上能够
Actually, if we know from the facial features, we can identify
非常
that.
有兴趣听，
Maybe
好
we'll
吧
be able to
像这
identify
种我
people who
先
have
我先
depressions.
透露一点，看大家
I'm
喜不
just
喜
going
欢哈。
to just release a little bit.
连眉，
If you look at them, they have
两个
linked
眉毛中间不是分开吗？
eyebrow. Look at most people.
眉
Our
容易连
eyebrows
在
will
一起
break.
的人，
But
你看
people
着
who
好
have
像有点
linked
分不清，对不
eyebrows,
对？
if you
中间
look
好
at
像
them
有
from
灰乎乎
far,
的，
you
好
seems
像
that
这
the
眉连
eyebrow
着
are
长在
linked
一起的
together.
人，而且连眉加浓眉的
And
人，
not only that, if they have very thick
容易。
eyebrow.
就好像呢，鼻子通到这个额头印堂上有一条人生的路啊。
It is like from the
这里
nose
好像
to the forehead,
让
there's
很多
this
就
path,
变成了
life
这
path.
经济的绊脚石，
And they
挡
seems to
住
have
你前
providing
行
a
的
lot
道
of
路。
hindrance
是
on
这
the
样。
life.
啊，这个连眉，
So
连
that's
眉
why people who have linked
对着
eyebrow,
不是所有的哈，
but not all of it.
容易吧？
容易。
But what I'm saying is that it's higher chance to have
所以这一点
depressions.
所以很多人懂得这个时候赶快修眉毛。
So people who know
这个
about
连眉赶快
this,
修哈。
immediately they quickly go and do
对
something
对
to
一
their
般方法越
eyebrow.
越厉害哈，采用点别的方法哈，是往下薅一根儿的是吧？
薅
哈，
啊，哦，要是咬牙，好想薅。
咬牙啊，把那根毛绑在门把手上，啪一关门就
Or they
长了。
plug the eye, the
啊多长
plug
像
the
毛
one
管
in the
长
middle.
那长不了那么长，我也不知道怎么绑。
I'm not sure how they do it.
在台湾我见过那些老太太用那个两根
But
线
in Taiwan, I've seen that they use threading to
不是刮脸，
to thread their brow. They use the thread,
这种一弄
and I'm not sure how they do it.
就把那
And
毛
they
就
use
拔
their
出来
mouth to help, and then they help to make their shape their eyebrow.
连根拔可能把那个毛囊给拔掉好一些哈，啊，这是第一种哈。
That's one
还
method.
想听第二种吗？
Do you want to hear the second?
还听？
You sure?
就是眉毛特别淡的人，
And that is, eyebrow is very, very light.
浓连着，要不又特别淡了。
So it's too extreme?
哎，
啊，
这他们忧郁的还真的事出有因。
Oh, really?
有道理。
因为眉毛特别淡的人呢，就是眉毛特别浓的人，
So people who have very thick
也
eyebrow,
容易对很多事物突然之间没有兴趣了。
they suddenly will lose
人生
interest
中
in
很多事物没
things.
兴趣了
Suddenly just
那
lose
么眉
interest
毛
in
特别
things.
特别淡的人，
But for people who have
也容易
very,
走上这个
very
极端。
thin eyebrow, they also can have depressions easily.
眉毛特别淡，也容易清心寡欲一些哈。 本来就没啥兴趣的。
不知道，反正我有眉毛啊。哎，但是从相学来说的话呢，就是容易，一个是叫情淡。
So from the look,
亲情、友情，容易有一天突然觉悟了，说要这干啥呀？
they have sudden realizations that
情容易
they are not very attached to emotions and feelings.
那么
They may wake up one day and decide that, well, I don't think I need these relationships.
他觉得哎呀，不过如此，无聊。
And they may not be interested in even beautiful things in life.
连眉的人呢，
But people who have linked eyebrows.
奇怪吧哈？好，我今天只透露2点哈。
So this is something that I release to you.
参考。
It's just for you to take as
这个
a...
相中透露了是什么呢？就是你的业。
So what does it show? What does a facial expression shows about you? It is a manifestations of your karmic debts.
但是这个相呢，其实就是娘胎出来就这个相。
Because your facial features, you're born with it.
那么这样相就有这个命，对不对？
And because you have such facial features, you will have such life path or you have such faith.
所以你的命中注定有这一类的，容易显出忧郁症的这种基因的这个现象。
And that's why in your life, these are their manifestation genes for
是
depressions.
业力的呈现的。
真的是
And this is really
讲的几点哈
karmic debts.
感恩师傅，
So I just mentioned a few points.
很好听的哈。师傅刚才特别
Master,
地
this is very interesting.
总结了、浓缩了，就是我们对忧郁症的起因的5大重
So
要的
Master, you
要
have
素
give us a broad category. What's the cause of
其实我觉得这
depressions?
个总结的特别好。
I think that this is actually good, good, very objective way of summarizing the main cause of depressions. We have a lot of internet friends who share with us in their message that many of them suffer depressions before. And they also shared that after they joined Bodhi, they learned Master's Dharmic methods. They have practice like the meditation practice. And also Master's very special, unique teaching methods. They are able to be free from depressions. So today we're going to share with you some online friends, how they successfully overcome depressions. The first is Xiao Cao from Singapore. Hello, Master. When I heard to Master's last lessons, I was really shocked. I was very sad after hearing the stories of the first online friends. That story resonates with me. When I was 18, my sister suffered from severe depressions. The doctor says that she was not only suffering from depressions, but also severe mania and severe obsessive compulsive disorder. When she washed hands, she would wash that for a full 15 minutes because she was afraid that she would not be able to wash them clean. When she turned off the lights, she would turn off and off the lights repeatedly, many times. These are all statements of mental illness. Also, she often lost her temper, threw things, and banged her head against the wall. When she has an attack, many times I couldn't restrain myself, and I will end up quarreling with her, or even fight. I know she can't help herself, and I don't want to stimulate her, but it's really hard. She had attempted suicide in different ways. For example, she takes a whole bottle of sleeping pills, she drank a whole bottle of laundry bleach, she even sat by the windows of her house and wanted to jump off the buildings, but she didn't have the courage to jump off. That situation lasted for 14 years. During this period, she saw a psychiatrist regularly and received psychotherapy. She took the medicine prescribed by the doctor. But does it work? I can't say it's useless because it's better than nothing. But she still loses her temper and wants to commit suicide. The side effect of the medicine was very serious. Her brains became troubled and her reactions slowed down, which caused her to be often humiliated by her boss in a company. After being angry with the boss at the company, she would lose her temper with us again as soon as she comes home. It's really a vicious cycle. The doctor told us that she will never recover, and she can only be suppressed by drugs for the rest of her life. The doctors prescribed more and more medicine for her, and the dosage of the medicine became heavier and heavier. She once tried to stop the medicine because she didn't want to endure the side effects. But when the medicine was stopped, all her symptoms worsened. So for 14 years, you are like hell on earth. I don't want to go home anymore. When I'm home, I don't like to talk. Lest I want to say the wrong things and angry her. I'm really tired of living this kind of life. In 2013, by chance, my sister went to Bodhi to attend an 8.5 days class. After the class, she wakes up at 3:30 every morning to practice an hour of meditations of great emanations, and an hour of prostrations, and an hour of chanting. This continues day after day. 3 months later, she seemed to be a different person. The number of tantrums were greatly reduced, and she did not have suicidal thought again. After 6 months, she stopped taking the medicines. She doesn't need these psychological drugs that she has been taking for 14 years. During this period, she continued to meditate 3 hours a day. I once asked her what made her practice so hard. She said she was terrified that the feelings of depression would come back. For 14 years, her world was filled with darkness, no matter if it's day or night, and she couldn't find a way out of darkness. Master's Dharma is like a huge sun, illuminating her world. So she clings to Master's Dharma as if grasping a life-saving straw, and cultivates desperately. 10 years have passed. My sister is getting more and more sunny. Our relationship improved. In the past 10 years, she did not need to take any more drugs at all. Although she still suffers insomnia occasionally and is still unhappy sometimes, but these are emotions that ordinary people will have. Stopping the medicines also make her no longer having to endure the side effect of the medicines. Her previous body, she has swelling and caused by fluids in the body's tissues, and also mental retardedness were all gone. I want to say to all friends who are struggling with depressions, please don't give up. Because of Master's methods, our life has now changed for the better. Thank you, Masters. It's so happy to hear that. So she has 14 years of suffering. And many of our internet friends share that she is so pitiful, but the good thing is that she managed to step out of depression. So her suffering, which lasted for more than 10 years, also caused a lot of agony to her family members. There's no reason she didn't mention what was the cause of it. I think there are some illusions, these illusions in her mental state. So she not only have depressions, she also have mania and obsessive compulsive disorder. She needs to turn on and off the switch all the time. Actually, all these diseases, they have some very specific symptoms. They don't like to interact with people. They are afraid of social interactions. And it's very easy for them to throw tantrums. She can't communicate well with the family members. She can't work properly. I think for her sister, she probably suffered the pain quietly. She even attempts suicides multiple times. All these actions seem to show that there's some pull factors, or there's something that is causing her, and she can't stand it. They cause harm to herself and her loved ones. I just feel that the world, her world is something that we cannot imagine. Well, when you listen to her stories, I also want you to hear some specific points that they mentions. For example, when they keep turning on and off the switch. So when people show such signs, it may indicate that this person may be suffering from depressions. I know that there's also a type of eating habits. For example, some food that have been left rotten for a long time. For example, potatoes. When you have shoots growing, and if let's say the skin is showing a little bit of mold, it is actually having some bacterial infections already, and it can affect your mental nerves. You may have illusions. I've read it, I've also seen it on the internet. Chinese, we like to eat the we eat the black fungus. So they like to keep the black fungus, leftover black fungus, and keep it. And let's say the person who cooked, they forget about it. And after 3 days, maybe somebody at home eat it. They may have some food poisoning, or the person cannot hear have some hearing loss, suffering from some hearing loss, or they have some delusions. Yes, we also have read stories that people who have consumed leftover black fungus, and they have some food poisonings and can be life-threatening. So when you hear about this, read about this, you want to be more careful when you eat some of these items. Actually, some food, there are certain circumstances that we should not consume that. Actually, things that are kept for more than 2 days, I want you to be very careful. If you're kept there for more than 2 days, it will start to have bacteria growing. And I know that potatoes is very, you shouldn't eat those that's moldy potatoes. So for her case, because of her depressions, the only treatments that the psychiatrist can prescribe is just medications. And she's also mentioned that when she takes the medications, it improves slightly, but doesn't heal completely. But then there are also side effects to that. You have very mental retardedness, that's one of them. And also she has some swelling in her body. That's also another side effect. And maybe because of that, and because she showed the signs of depression at work, that's why the boss also humiliated her. So I think it's a vicious cycle, because that also adds on her stress and pressure, so become more depressed. So from her descriptions, for the 14 years, because of severe depressions, the doctors kept increasing the dosage of the medications. So there's very little that the doctors can do except to prescribe a stronger medications. So when the doctor tell her that she can never she need medication to support for the rest of her life, I think that also gave her a mental stress. But for her, luckily, she was able to participate in an 8.5 days class. And as also she learned some methods. And I think she wakes up really early compared to many people. What is important that we want to know the results. She practiced the meditations of greater illuminations for an hour. She did prostrations for an hour. She also did an hour of chanting. So these are all very common methods that we learn in Bodhi. And what happens after that? Well, how long was it before she recovered? 3 months. 3 months, she seemed to be a different person. She stopped throwing tantrums. And then she did not have suicidal thoughts anymore. Well, that is quite impressive. And after 6 months, and that's just after 6 months, she stopped taking all her medicines. So she didn't need these psychological drugs that she'd been taking for 14 years. Wow, that's like a miracle. I'm very touched to hear about her improvements. So for 6 months, she moved from a depressed person to a normal person without having the need to take medications. Wow, that's amazing and impressive. Her family members are all very happy. And now it's 10 years has passed. I think the family's condition changed so much. And now they have a lot to share with one another. Before that, she didn't even want to go home because she didn't want to face the tantrums of the sisters. But now their life normalized. But the sisters asked a very important question. How can you persist to practice and not stop? And the sister says, because she's afraid that she will be in that state again. This is very important. Because although the sisters has depressions, she has wisdoms when she is in her normal state of mind. She participated in one of our meditation class. She saw the chance of a recovery. So she sees it. And she wakes up really early. Because when she's in the depressed state, she can't do her work properly. So she said, well, she's going to allocate time to her practice. She gets up at 3:30 in the morning to practice for 3 hours. She has this endurance and perseverance. I think this is something that we should learn from her. And because of her diligence, you can see the impact. So this is from Singapore. This first story is from Singapore. So if you have signs of BC people of depressions, maybe you want to try to give it a try, to try the health and happiness class. So we have presents for this pair of sisters. Yes, this is a very good sharing. The first testimonial, Xiao Cao and the sisters. Do you remember? We have this Zen art. We created this. It's actually small grains, yellow grains. And it's actually being stuck on this ceramics. Good. It's really beautiful. And this is for the sisters. Can you pass me the rabbits? This is for Xiao Cao. This is for the younger sisters. Good stories. I'm so happy to hear your stories, your benefits. I'm happy for you, wishing you health and longevities and happiness. Master, I want to share another stories from Bai Nian. That is US. Xiao Ling, she's 29. she want to share with Master her recoveries from post-traumatic disorder. Hello, Master. I'm Xiaoling from Bailian Bodhi Meditation Center in the United States, and I'm 29. My parents were odd with each other since I was a child. My father was violent and often beat my mom. Because of this, my mother was very sensitive and would always take her anger out of me, causing serious trauma in my heart. In the eyes of others, I look like a healthy and normal young person, but my mind has been tormented by more than 10 years of post-traumatic disorder. So I'm like desperate situations. When the disease was very severe, I was overwhelmed by a huge sense of panic. As soon as I opened my eyes in the morning, I dare not move or speak out. When I was talking to my colleagues at work, I would tremble with fear. I was so anxious that I couldn't sleep at night, and my thoughts kept going. I can't get out of the pain. The great mental stress makes it impossible for me to do even basic things, such as cleaning. So when I can't relieve my emotions, I choose to cut my skin with a blade, so that I can feel a little relieved in that moment. Because I have to take a lot of psychotropic drugs for a long time, that has made me gain 30 pounds. And the expensive psychotherapy is a huge financial burden. And the side effects of the drugs have always made me very suffer as well. Because I heard many testimonials about Bodhi meditations from my families and the internet, I took part in the Energy Bagua class in March this year. At the beginning of the class, my heart was beating like thunders as I was sitting on pins and needles because of my nervousness. But the volunteers at the meditation centers care for me like a family members, constantly encouraging me, giving me confidence, encouraging me to persevere. On the 4th day of the class, when I was doing Energy Bagua and visualized following the prompts of the music, I became one with nature. I felt everything in the world. I felt the love between heaven and earth. That's a very strange sense of relaxation. My heartbeat returned to normal. My body stopped shaking, and my nervousness and fear was left behind. I felt that I had finally grasped a life-saving straw. The daily meditation time is my homework to stabilize my heart. I want to understand what is important to me and what I can let go. I went on to take a stress relief class and an 8.5 days health and fitness class. In the process of practicing the meditations of with illuminations, my thoughts gradually became clear. In the process of listening, during the class, I completely opened my heart. Many pains I could not let go, I learned to look at them from a more wise perspective. Many difficulties that I thought I could not face, I could accept them and have the courage to face them. I cried out all the grievances and sorrows in the past. When I completed the class, I looked at the past as if it was the past. In just a few months of consistent meditation practice, my post-traumatic symptoms have almost disappeared. I have stopped all medications, and I've lost more than 20 pounds. As a result, I gained the long-lost peace and found the strength to face life. I'm very grateful to Grandmaster JinBodhi and Bodhi meditations. For her, she has this trauma that she faced when she was young, probably because of family violence. As a result, she has this post-traumatic disorder. So she has this panic attack, and even when she talks, she trembles. Did she have depressions? I think after the post-traumatic disorder, I think eventually it leads to depressions. She dare not face people. She don't want social interactions. And also she also has the symptoms of self-harm. Wow,
这挺严重。
that's very serious.
是真的很可怜的。
Because of the pain, the traumatic pain that she suffers, she tried to inflict pain onto herself, onto her physical self.
所以这个忧郁症呢，它这个一旦犯病之后哈，其实这是一种错觉。
So when the person suffer from depressions, they will have delusions.
本来是一个
They will have
害怕的一个
self-harming.
行为，
Actually, self-harming, the act of self-harming is actually a very scary act. But for them, it becomes very comforting.
害怕，
Scary. She also took drugs for a long time. And because of the psychotropic drugs that she took for a long time, she also gained weight. She gained 30 pounds. And she lost her confidence.
然后他说还让他精神恍惚，所以他在来到禅堂之前，其实身心他自己形容就油尽灯枯了。一个29岁的年轻人，
And she's only 29. She felt that her life lamp is running out.
我想议论一下哈，就是说如果长期的，就是他这个忧郁症嘛。
I just want to explore a little bit deeper. If she is taking these medications for a long time,
会不会形成一种新的精神？
would it be a new form of disease? Yes, very likely.
你比如说你有伤害性，
Say you want to help, you want to harm
你
yourself.
吃那个药呢，说实在话觉得晕乎乎的。
Maybe you take the
晕乎
medications.
了哪有发脾气的那
You
感觉？
find that you very difficult for
长期吃的
you
话呢，
to.
会不会使你的脑就处在一种晕乎的？
Will you be in a state whereby
上一期我们在分析
your mental states that you're always
西药的
delusions?
原理的时候，很多的我们也是研究了一下哈，看到他们的原理基本上就是要刺激咱们在大脑里的一个什么神经传递介质。
From last week, we know that the medication, the Western medications, helps to release the chemicals, and the chemicals is trying to cause some shocks to some of the messengers, the neural messengers.
正好送到那些忧郁的神经的这些传递介质里，而且你下的剂量又是恰到好处。
And you need to get the right prescriptions, the right chemical to provide that type of.
好，如果是这样的话，就有可能就是特别活跃大脑，就是它用料太大了，或者是还是不行。
The type of shocks to the neural messages.
对，麻木麻痹是。
But if it's excessive or too little, it may have
这个
different
药就是
effects.
犯两大错误哈，对，要么让你极度的活跃，
So the medications will either cause you to be at a very hyper,
他吃的给你药呢，就像兴奋剂是吧？哎，好像对什么东西都要有一种快乐的感觉。
it like give you a type of feeling of ecstasy.
过于那个活跃了。
But if it's too excessive, too hyper,
他就让你压抑一下。
you will try to depress it slightly.
傻了都。
对，但是长期吃这个药，
But imagine
肯定会
that
出问题。
if you continuously consumed this type of medications, it will have its own negative effect.
但是得了病又没办法。
But what can you do
所以
when you need some form of medications?
的见证。你看说
So for her, luckily, she heard and she watched many of the testimonials.
稻草一样，快来我们机构看一看吧。
And she decided to come and take a look.
八卦内功
She gave Energy Bagua a try.
菩提禅修的健身班啊，通过
She
这样的学习
also participated in the health and
像
fitness
这个
class.
美国硅谷地区哈，它多数的这些职员呢，多数的众生百姓哈，都是一些这个。
So in the US, especially in areas around the Silicon Valleys, you find that there are a lot of very intellectual professionals.
但是他这种就专业的做设计类的这样的工作哈，职业性的一做就是10年和以上。
But because their job is so
我不知道这
specialized,
种行为会不会
they
容易产生
tend to
忧郁
work
的
for a long time, like 10 over years. You think that you will have some impact on their jobs, behaviors, especially when the job is a very high pressure job.
压力。
极大比很大应该还严重。
I think it's the type of pressure that they face is quite extensive, more than average type of
就
jobs.
扛得住也一样忧郁，因为就是你的
Even
世界
though you can
在这个
endure,
屏幕
you
当
will
中
also
有一个
somehow
世界
suffer
你
depressions.
还要动脑把它去做好，对不对？
You need to
对
use
就
your
光从一个
brains
小视觉
not
就一
only
定
to
天16
plan,
小时
strategize, visualize, you also have to make sure it's
啊跟
operational.
手钟表这一样，
It is like the one a watch repairman. You have to be so precise. You have to look through this. You have to be very precise in your repair. That's why people who work in the Silicon Valley, people who use their brain extensively, like judge or prosecutor. Say, for example, the person has no. It's not easy to make judgments or to have a verdict. Some lawyers, even some lawyers. So they actually endure a lot of mental stress. When it's so extensive, it will cause harm.
所以这个我们这个小林哈，他来上八卦班哈，他说他开始不是就是经常会身体发抖。
So Xiaoling, she shares that when she first come for the class, she trembles a lot.
他觉得他的心脏就开始平稳了。
And after that, she finds that her heart somehow calmed down after she did the class. We talk about energy. Maybe in the past, she lacks energy, and that's why it affects her emotions. But after she joined Energy Bagua, she built up her energy, and now she feels that she can stabilize the inner strength. Well, you can use it here, but it's not so absolute. Because when you're cultivating, the cultivation is in a way, it's an overall of balance your energy. Not just it helps to enhance your vitality. That's only one aspect. So maybe you shouldn't think of what is the reason that caused you to heal. Don't be so specific, no. But rather you enjoy the cultivation process.
对，能量和能量还不同哈。咱们比如说一些常见性的说，有点疲劳了，这几天太累了，啊，吃了很多人爱吃肉的吃肉之外。
Some people, when they suffer from like they're very tired, maybe they feel that they want to eat some meat. Some may even want to have some ginsengs. But some of those certain type of ginsengs may not be suitable for you. If we practice the Dharma, it is not like that. There's no such thing as suitable or not. What is important is that if you can endure, you'll be able to feel. The moment that you start to practice, you may still start to tremble. But if you can persist and continue, if you can endure for 7 days, you will be able. You have already and you can pass the endurance test. You'll be able to continue. And you find that the first 2 times, your hand may still tremble, but after that, the trembling will stop. Because how the method works is that it will help to work in the overall balance. It is not something that is visible, but it helps. It is a form of self-healing, a balanced way of self-healing. That is amazing Bodhi meditation methods. Let's look at her effects. After a few months of persistent practice, the post-traumatic disorder completely disappears. She even stopped all her medications. And she even lost 20 pounds. Not only that, she gained calm and strength. Most importantly, she says that after listening to Master's teaching, she opens her heart. And there's a healing involved. She let go of her burdens in the past. I think that is the best healing for her. So maybe this is a reflection of what I mentioned earlier, your worldview. So if your point of view of the world is become elevated, all your hindrance become insignificant. But when you don't have enough worldview, everything will be a blockage to you, will become obstacles to you. So once you can clear that from your thoughts, you will see the world as a beautiful world, rather than a world that brings you with obstacles and hindrance. I think Xiaoling is also a very highly intellectual person. And because of that, when she listens to Master's teaching, she is able to elevate her view of the world almost very quickly. Can we ask Master to give her a gift as well? Well, I made this the last time. This is a horse. What's her name? Xiaoling. Wishing you success. Wishing you having a happy life. Well, this horse is having the face facing upwards. It's represent full of energy. And actually for Xiaoling, because she saw a testimonial and that's why she decided to give it a try. And that's why all these testimonials provide a lot of inspirations to people. Actually, a lot of time, people who benefited from it, they will come back to share again. And that's why people who suffer the same type of symptoms, they also will feel inspired and would want to try. So we hope that all who benefited from Bodhi, we don't have very high requirement. We just ask you to help 3 persons, to encourage them to come to our meditation center to give our method a try. Well, if you can promote to 5 or 10, that's even better. But as long as you are a beneficiary, you benefited from Bodhi method, if you can introduce 3 persons to come, you would have built immeasurable. You would have built immeasurable merits, and you will have auspiciousness, health, and happiness. Let's hear our next testimonial. The next testimonial is from Malaysia. Jian Yun.
I'm 27 years old. I started my college 2014. And during the 3rd year of my degree, 2016, I started to become more pressure. We had to attend online classes because our lecturers are from America. We couldn't meet them in person and we have to study online every day from home. Since I have to attend these online classes from home, so I feel like I'm studying every day. And there's no rest, and I didn't go outside. I didn't have any entertainment. I just stay at home and study. So slowly the pressure is piling up, and I started to have negative thoughts. At the beginning, it's not that bad, but it's become worse day by day. I'm feeling very tired every day. My body is very heavy. Every single day when I woke up, I don't feel like I want to wake up. I just feel like I want to sleep. When I go to sleep at night, I don't hope to wake up the next day, so I could sleep forever. I'm very mentally tired, and I feel like there's no hope for me to live on. There's no reason for me to live on. I just wanted to escape the reality. When I was sleeping, I suddenly woke up because I realized that I wasn't breathing, and I was gasping for air, and my heart rate increased. I didn't realize that I had stopped breathing for a moment until I woke up. During this time, actually, I don't know that I'm having depression. I become so quiet and I just kept everything by myself. I'm thinking, why do I have to suffer? Is it because we're born to this world, we have to suffer? So I actually had hatred towards the God at some point. In 2018, my mom's friend introduced her to Bodhi meditation. She come to Chantang and she knows that there's this health and happiness retreat class. My mom doesn't know that I'm in depression, but she just thinks that I'm very quiet, and she thinks maybe this class could help me, so she brought me here. On the 5th day of the class, I remember that I saw a video of Master. He talked about the famous actor Leslie Cheung. His life was miserable and he has depression, and so he commits suicide. When Master talked about his feelings, I feel like he was talking about me, because I also having the same miserable life. Then I had so many negative thoughts, and I was crying because I felt the same way as Leslie Cheung. After that, Master mentioned about when we have no courage to live, or when we lose hope to live, we could chant the JinBodhi Jing. With that, it will provide us, give us more courage to live on. After I read the JinBodhi Jing, I gained more confidence and I have more courage to live on. There's nothing to worry about anymore. All the negative thoughts are gone, and I just felt so happy, and my body felt so light. I felt very happy. I could laugh from the bottom of my heart. Since I can't remember how long I laughed so much, I just have the courage to live, and I don't feel like committing suicide or sleeping forever anymore. Right now, I'm working at a company that's selling cars spare parts, and I'm working at a sales department. Every day, I have to face a lot of challenges, a lot of problems and issues. But with JinBodhi Jing, I enjoy the progress, solving all the problems. Just like in JinBodhi Jing, 我喜欢挑战，我勇于承担. These are the keys that really provide me a lot of courage to solve all these problems. Lastly, I hope teenagers or whoever who are facing depression or have any problems like I did, come and join our meditation class and also chant this JinBodhi Jing. I hope you will have more courage to live on and live a happy life like I do right now. And of course, I really thank Grandmaster that he gave me a second chance to live, and he taught me JinBodhi Jing. Without him, I really couldn't survive this long, and I think my life is still miserable. I'm still in depression, and I don't think I could live such happy life. Really, really thank Grandmaster for giving me this opportunity to share this and giving me a second chance of life. Really, really thank you so much. I love you.
哎呀，我们这位年轻的27岁的
She's really young. She's only 27. And because of the Grandmaster JinBodhi's golden words that help her to overcome her
对，
depressions.
其实还是在学生时代学习的压力。
Yeah, she felt that it was during her years when she was in universities, she was under a lot of study pressure.
当时她忧郁，她也说开始的时候没那么严重。
She also mentioned at the beginning it was not very severe.
她每天晚上睡觉，她并不想第二天早上起来。
But then eventually when she sleeps, she didn't really want to wake up the next day.
不是一件轻松的事儿啊，
是，
就挺累人的。
是，
嗯，
所以就是我们的家长哈，其实还是要比较细心的观察。
That's why parents, you want to be very careful to observe your children, because you must understand that children also face pressure at work.
娟云的父母并没有给他增加压力，其实
Of course, the parents never gave her
他
added
说他不
pressure.
想讲出他的痛苦，
She didn't want to share
担心他，所以他就
her depressions because she is afraid that she will bring more stress to the parents,
患忧郁症的小孩子，特别是中学生，
especially for secondary school kids. Many are like that. They are afraid that the parents will know that what they are going through.
可能就错过了早期干预。
But what happens is that if they do not share with their parents, they will lose the chance for early interventions
所以其实到后来
when they already show signs of depressions. And as for her case, it becomes worsened over times.
但她也很幸运哈，
But what's very lucky for her is that her mom's friend was a participant of a Bodhi meditation class. And she joined the class together with the mom. And when Master talked about the JinBodhi's golden words, Masters also shared about Leslie Chung's experience of committing suicide in the teaching of the mantra of life. And Master says that if you're able to recite it once, you will never choose to die in this life. The moment that she heard that, she gained her confidence. Whatever it is, she benefited. She seems to have cleared it almost immediately. Because for her, it is not a very serious state of depression. And she was lucky that her mom brought her to the meditation center. And it seems that suddenly something opens up in her mind.
所有的学生都会面对学习的压力，对吧？对。但是我们一般都会说，哎，我们过去了这一段时间，就紧张的学习过去了以后，自然会缓解。
A lot of times, when we go through the exam pressure, once the pressure is over, we learn how to moderate our emotions. Maybe we go to watch movies, maybe we go out with friends, maybe we do some exercise to release the pressure. But because that's what most people do. But maybe for her case, when she was young, when she was going through the study pressure, she was kind of blocked. She thinks that, well, her study life is so painful. When she becomes older and when she works, it will be worse. So that is a thought process. She becomes a pessimist. But for her, her symptoms are actually quite not so serious.
但是我觉得这个娟云还是有一点心理活动，我觉得值得我们借鉴啊。他就觉得师父在开示和讲法中特别理解他。
She says that something that she shared. She feels that Master really understands her.
当比方说有一些这种患者，他不愿意倾诉，他也是因为觉得众人不理解他们。
Because what happens is a lot of people, why they don't want to share is because they feel that other people cannot understand her.
所以这一点，我们应该全社会都要给予这种患上忧郁症的这些患者给予最大的理解。
So I think as when we hear about all this, we want to give them the comfort for them to share.
其实《金菩提圣经》它其实带给青年孩子们的启发哈。
Actually, Grandmaster JinBodhi's golden words is provide all young children and adults with inspirations. If you use your heart to recite, if you recite it loudly, you'll be able to merge with yourself. You will gain confidence.
因为忧郁症有一种多数忧郁症当中有一种就是常见现象。
A lot of time people have depression is because they lack of self-confidence. But in the process of reciting when we recite Master JinBodhi's golden words, suddenly you will have this confidence. And once you open that up, you see the sunshine, and just like for her case. For her, she's working now, and she needs to interact with her customers. And sometimes she even gave herself booster, confident booster. I like confidence, and especially when whenever she feels obstacles in life, she tries to tell herself. She recited. Because when you're in sales, you also have to meet your target. There's also pressure to meet the targets.
是，我也希望小朋友们呢，青年朋友们哈。 虽然你的人生还没经历那么多的
I hope that a lot of young people, although we have not so much life experience, time is really the essence. Tomorrow will be better. And all pressure, you can overcome all pressure.
你看老前辈的那个业力，哇，不是业力，业绩哈，那么高，觉得打死自己都追不上，说不定3年之后你比他还厉害。
Actually, you may look at your seniors. They have achieved a target, sales target that you think is unachievable. But you never know. Maybe 3 years later, you can even attain a better sales target. What is important is to have the right mindsets. You are not afraid of obstacles. You are not afraid to challenge yourself. You love challenges. And when you're full of confidence, you will have eventual success. I hope that my sharings will allow the young children or young adults to have some form of inspirations. Can we have a present for her, Master? How about this? This is the red grains. I made it personally, and this is actually a bear. Beautiful bear. Red colored grains. This is for Jian Yun, wishing you health, happiness, and auspiciousness.
那接下来再为师父分享一位来自美国洛杉矶的
We have another sharing from LA.
分享他女儿的故事。好，好。他说：“师父好，我是洛杉矶。”
Hello, Masters. I'm Rong Shi from LA Meditation Center. Since childhood, Rongren was a very creative, well-behaved, but very quiet child. Her quietness is caused by poor self-expression skills, and she speaks slowly, and the words are often incomplete and fragmented, making it hard for people to understand her. Therefore, she was easily ignored by teachers and classmates at school and gradually became less confident. This situation became more serious after high school because we moved, and we accidentally let my daughter enter the most competitive schools in Irvine. I'm an arrogant parent, thinking that my husband and I were both very academic when we were very young, so my daughter should be fine. In the beginning, she was very motivated, trying to adapt to the intense pace of the new school, participating in club activities, and even selected as the first violinist, and doing well academically. But the second year, I found that she became more autistic and often locked herself in her own room. And when I try to communicate with her, it becomes impossible, and she always said I don't understand her. Later, the school sent me messages again and again saying that she missed her homework, missed classes, or didn't go to school at all. And 2 weeks before the final exams, she was sleeping in bed every day, and she cried to tell me that she don't want to go to school. So my daughter becomes very negative, complain about the teachers, about the classmates. She even told me that her existence is a burden to the world. So no matter how we try to encourage her to think positively, she would not listen. And she would shut herself in the closet all night and cry. And when she's tired from crying, she slept in the closets. So at the end of the second year of high school, her school grades went bad, and her weight was also skyrocketed. She also told me that she searched on the internet for symptoms and found that she was suffering from depression and needed to see a doctor. So we found a counselor, and I made an appointment with a doctor, but she backed out before we went to see the doctor. She said she wanted to think it over. At that time, in addition to spending more time with my daughter, I offered lights in the meditation center, prayed for her. So I took my daughter to chant the 6-syllabus mantra. Although she can only chant for 15 minutes, but the effect is surprisingly good. Within a week, she noticed that her focus improved. Before, she couldn't settle to finish her homework because of anxiety. By chance, my daughter learned 3D animations design online, and she fell in love with it since then. She stayed up late to create it. She told me that because everyone's life is very depressed, she wanted to create a carefree space in a virtual world so that everyone can go there to relax and find themselves. Her work gained popularities on internet, and some businesses began to ask her to design. So in addition to earning some pocket money, she also regained a little self-confidence. My daughter's conditions getting better day by day. Her diet also returned to normal. Her weight gradually dropped, and she stopped crying in a closet, and her school grades also subsequently stabilized. Thanks to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for protection, she successfully graduated from high school and decided to enter the community college to continue her studies. And during her in June, she graduated from high school, and Master asked young children to ask questions online. And my daughter and some children in the meditation centers all sent questions. We are lucky because she has a conversation with Master. She was greatly encouraged, and Master asked her to continue the path of 3D animation design. Master's blessings are so powerful. In the following months, my daughter's whole body became brighter. She even spoke fluently, and she's able to argue with me. I used to bring my daughter to see doctor since she was a child because of a speech disorder. But it didn't change much. But suddenly, how did she do it? Not only that, she took the initiative to work in the milk tea shops and started to learn socializing with wide group of people. She no longer shut herself in small circle. I sense that she becomes more confident, pay attention to her schoolwork, and set goals and plan for a future. On her 20th birthday, it happens to be the time when she's applying to transfer school. So I offered 749 days 7 colored lamps for her in the meditation center as a birthday gift, and pray that Buddhas, Bodhisattvas will lead the way and protect her for bright future. Thank Master, thank Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. The result of the school's applications came out, and my daughters applied to 7 California universities, and all were successfully admitted, including the famous UC Berkeley and UCLA. When she heard that she received the admissions notice from UCLA, she couldn't help but scream on the spot. She was so happy. Because the UCLA Department of Media Design and Art is the #1 design department among public universities in the United States. Thinking back to the last few years, she almost locked herself in the room, suffered depressions, and drove her into a dead end. But now, she became very confident, and she even entered one of the top universities in the world. I understand that all this come from the blessings and protections of Masters, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas. I am deeply grateful to Master. And thank you, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. Excellent news, excellent transformations. I think when she was young, she had some speech difficulties. That affected her confidence. Any part of the reason is because the parents are very accomplished. They are very academic in their youth, so their expectations of the kids become much higher. When you enter the good school, it's not as if everyone have the same level of intellectual capabilities. And because I think when she's in that competitive environment, she starts to have depressions, she starts to overeat. And I think when the mom realized that, the mom is very wise. She went to offer lights at the meditation center to accumulate merits for the child. It seems that after the mother offered lights, her path seems to widen. She starts to be focused in her studies. So this is amazing transformations, change in her. Most importantly, why suddenly the daughter learns about these 3D animations, and then through that, she gained confidence. So it seems like she suddenly gained insight, suddenly attained inspirations. And she was very lucky that she had this chance to interact with masters online. And I think at the point in time, she seeks master advice and which path she should follow. And master says that she should focus on 3D animations and be good at that. And after the chance interactions with master, she seems to have gained her confidence. She's suddenly able to even talk back to the mom. And don't forget, this kid needs to go for speech therapy and has been with the speech therapist for a long time. And just by one chance interactions with master, she found her confidence. She started to lead a normal life. She even have a life goal. And not only that, look at her. She managed to get admitted in the top universities, top design universities in the world. Her life changed completely. The mom is full of gratitude towards master. Amazing. I think everyone at some point in their life, every child in some point in their life, they will face some obstacles in life. And what is important at critical moment, the mom is very wise. She received inspirations from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And that's why suddenly her life changed. That is a critical moment. So offer lights before Buddhas, before Bodhisattvas. And actually, the medicines Buddhas, sutras, was very clear about this. When you offer lights for 49 days, you will have one of your wish fulfilled. And I hope that you seek the opportunities. So that is also a method to overcome depressions, and that is very important. And that is to be able to offer lights before Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, to help our children, or whether it's young adults or loved ones who suffer from depressions. It is very, very critical and very effective. And also, as parents, we must try to be understanding. We must try to comfort them and accompany them. But a lot of times we need more external power or external blessings from Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and even masters. Actually, in the youth class, masters also said that my future, the topic is my future, I create my future. But a lot of time, masters also told the kids that if they don't do anything to their futures, they actually destroy their own futures. So masters, can we have gifts for the mom and the daughter? So I have 2 bracelets. And I also have a goat. This one, looks like a sheep. Actually, I made myself. I stick with grains, and it represents auspiciousness. And Master, we have another sharings, and it's from Yo Hui. And she ends the life of the Walking Dead. I have been an introverted and sentimental person since I was a child. When I was in my 30s, I was diagnosed with depressions by a doctor, and I need to take tranquilizers and sleeping pills. The biggest symptoms of my depression is pain in my heart, cranky thinkings, not laughing, and crying. In 2015, depression has become more serious. People ask me, how are you doing? I cried just over this sentence. And if one doesn't go my way, I will cry too. Crying becomes my daily routine. In February 2017, due to financial pressure, my depression broke out and I couldn't think about many things. In the eyes of outsiders, I'm very beautiful, live in a big house, drive a luxurious car, send my children to study abroad. However, behind the scene is a monthly high mortgage, car loan, and other economic pressure. At that time, my husband, the only breadwinner in the family, lost his job again. Faced with all this, I got stuck in a corner and started to think wildly. I thought, what if one day I have no money? The more I thought about it, the more scared I became. If everything is lost, I lost face in front of my families and friends. This pressure made me feel lost. I live in worry and fear every day. I couldn't sleep. I think a lot. My heart is perpetually beating very hard. I can even hear my heartbeat. And even when I sleep, I couldn't sleep for long. I woke up again. And I wake up 2 a.m. in the morning every day. It was very painful. And I walked downstairs alone. And I faced the statue of the three holy Buddhas of the West on the wall. I sat and cried, and I said, I'm very, very painful. Take me away. I don't want to live anymore. When I was tired from crying, I slept for a while. So I was like a walking dead during the day. I contemplated suicide. But when I think about my child, I give up the idea. Years of emotional depression tortured me mentally. And finally, I had physical problems. In 2017, I went for physical examinations and found that there were many large and small tumors in my uterus. The big one was as big as an egg. The doctor told me, after half a year, you come for examinations and do the next step of treatment. I was in a bad mood at that time. It really made me irritable and anxious. At the time, a friend gave me a copy of Meditations and Health magazines, and she said, Bodhi meditation is very good and you should go, give it a try. So in March 2017, I walked into Find Dharma Bodhi Meditation Center, and I couldn't listen to what the teachers in the meditation center said to me. I walked to the Guan Yin Hall alone, and I started crying. And after that, I went home. The next day, I went to the centers again, and I continued to cry when I go to the Guan Yin Hall. And I did that for 4 consecutive days. And I felt comfortable. Afterward, I also participated in various meditation courses at the meditation center. I felt that I found a way out. I learned Energy Bagua, and on the first day when I went to the Bagua point, I didn't want to look at anyone, I didn't want to talk to anyone. After a week of Energy Bagua, I actually laughed, and when all the senior Dharma sisters come to talk to me, I actually talked with them. I felt relaxed when I walked. I was able to sleep. And listening to Master's lectures, I learned to change my mentality. And I can accept everything, and my worries and fears decrease. Since then, I've been practicing Energy Bagua every day. Energy Bagua helped me to step out of my pain. I never cried again. I live happily every day. In 2021, when I gathered enough courage to go for physical examinations again, miraculously, all the large and small tumors in the uterus disappeared. There was no need for surgery. The doctor says that it was incredible. How grateful I am to Master. Master has completely changed me. Now, I'm very happy and at ease every day. Not only am I a healthy person, I practice Energy Bagua with a group of people every day. Seeing everyone's benefits make me extremely happy. I am very grateful to Master, who helped me bid farewell to depressions and live a happy, joyful, and happy life. I will spread Master's Dharma so that more people can benefit from it. So from a crying lady, she becomes someone who loves to laugh, full of laughter.
哭吧哭吧不是罪哈。
她也是从小，她说她就性格就比较。
She shares that from young, she is more of a sentimental person, an introverted person. So she has a depressed personality, and she started to take medicines in her 30s. And what caused the depression was that the husband lost his job, and they are faced with the pressure of heavy mortgage, housing mortgage, car loans. So when outsiders look at her, they felt that she is living in a big house, driving a luxurious cars, and even send kids to overseas. But to her, that is not the truth.
这个呢，我就想议论一下哈，就是这位师姐呢，她这个其实都是贷款。
Actually, this is something that I want to touch on. She actually took mortgage. She has they are salaried person. They try to live in a big house, drive a big car.
有点强人所难哈。
So I think it's very tough on the husband, because once the husband loses a job, she will lose everything. So first of all, you must understand that you don't want, there's not, if the husband loses a job, the whole family will suffer. I think for the husband, he has to work. He can't stop working. And that's why she did mention in the beginning that she wants to look good in the eyes of others. She's afraid to lose face. Remember, do not compare. Do not compare with the rich and the wealthy, because there is no limits to that. Eventually, it will cause you more harm. What you want is a life that is peaceful and calm, that you will find inner peace. For her, because of not wanting to lose face, because of wanting to show to the others, to look good in the eyes of others, it caused more harm to her. She even suffered from physical illness. But after she went to the Bodhi meditation center, she went to the Guanyin hall. What did she do? She cried for 4 days. And after she cried, she healed. Crying healed her. She became comfortable after that. Well, when you cry in the meditation center, it is to help you to get rid of your disease, because Guanyin Bodhisattvas will help to heal you. And it actually helps her to cure her depressions. It even helped her to get rid of the tumors. So this is something that is hard for us to explain, and in fact stories like this is something that we cannot come out. This is actually a testimonial, a real life experience. So this in itself is amazing. So from the perspective of the divine, if the divine want to help you, if they want your disease to disappear, it will just disappear. So I think this Dharma sisters has very good affinities, very good connections with Guanyin Bodhisattvas. I think when you have free, you should try to recite Guanyin's mantra.
不过我还是挺就是佩服有回师姐的哈，就是她自己通过学习禅修、修炼八卦以后，自己忧郁症好了啊，爱笑了。
And I think for her, because of her practice of Energy Bagua, she recovers from depression.
然后她的分享就是说，哎呀，我怎么看到八卦殿上那些学员这个病痛好了，那个好了，我都好开心。
And she was so happy when she see that people at the Energy Bagua point they start to heal. She could feel their happiness as well. That's because Guanyin Bodhisattvas has inspired her to help more people. If you want to recover from depressions? It is very easy. You're just going to help others. When you help others, you will have no worries at all. Why? Because you have no time to worry. All your time is spent to help others. In fact, you'll be full of confidence. When the other people recover, when the other people gain health and happiness, you will be able to feel that too. She is someone with affinities with Buddhas. And she learned that. So she learned that the way to step out of depressions, it is to help others. When others are happy, you gain happiness as well. I think masters have given us some examples before. There are some people, they are very accomplished, they are very successful in life, yet they devote their life to help others.
什么都没有的小白们，在忧虑自己的未来，其实他也算是过得挺幸福的，但是也会担忧啦，忧虑，也会忧郁。同样的，如果有回师姐就从帮助他人走出战胜忧郁的话，我相信对于那些成功人士哈，如果你也是觉得内心还是很苦闷的，很忧郁的，
So if you are accomplished,
你还是很富足的话，
and
可以学一学我们的师姐。
If you are very accomplished, you're very wealthy, but you still feel a bit depressed, you can learn from her maybe to do something that help others. And that will be a path that will guide you out of depressions. Shall we have a present for her? This lady, these Dharma sisters who have good affinity with Guanyin? I have 2 for you. Wow. What is this? What is this bracelet? This strawberry stone bracelet. And we have a golden bowl. That represent a golden bowl. Beautiful, Master. Wishing that your descendants, your children, your grandchildren will have good jobs. Well, that's because she keeps helping others. And that's why we gave this present for you. Thank you, Master.
那接下来再跟师父分享一个我们网友的来信啊。
Master, we have another as well.
啊，他也是经历了严重的忧郁症。
Ban Tianyun also suffers a lot of depressions.
他说：“师父好，我是您的弟子。”
She said, Master, I'm your disciple Ban Tianyun. After listening to your live broadcast on depressions, I think back now, I've been depressed, nervousness, and severe insomnia since as a child. I remember that when I was about 13 or 14 years old, it started to be obvious. Later, when I gave birth to my son, and during confinement, the depressions became severe. I couldn't sleep for the entire confinement period. And when I was in my 30s, on the night of April the 4th, 2014, the day before Qingming Festival, my depression broke out. I have auditory hallucinations more than a month. And on the night of April the 4th, I suddenly felt particularly irritable, fearful, and afraid. I felt that there's this thick black steel plate blocking my front. And I felt that I'm going to suffocate to death. And I felt that I couldn't breathe and I lost strength. I have no strength to get up or walk. And since then, I suffer from very severe insomnia. I couldn't sleep all night. I fear darkness and I can't go to work. So when I went to the hospital, I was diagnosed with autoimmune liver disease and chronic hepatitis B. I saw the doctors countless times. The doctor said that the disease was very serious and it will accompany me for the rest of my life. Desperate and helpless, I actually lost weight from 120 kgs to 90 kgs. Somewhere, my mind tells me that I cannot die, and I must be responsible for raising my son. I really think about it every day. How lucky I was. In December, in that year by chance, and in a friend's Buddhist hall, I saw the image of Master for the first time, and I heard Master's natural voice. At that time, my depressed heart immediately felt a little clear with comfort. From then on, I followed Masters to study seriously, and I eagerly accumulate merits, listen to Master's compassionate teachings, and I also practice Bodhi meditation method. And in my darkest moments, I listen to Master's teaching repeatedly every day, and that gave me the courage to leave. 2 years later, I was able to work, and after that, my son went to college, get married, and gave birth to a child. Now, we have a new generation of little Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and the families live happily. I deeply knew that my life was saved by Master. It's Master's compassionate teachings that cures my serious mental illness, and it's Master's extraordinary meditation practice that cure my physical and mental illness. Full of gratitude to Masters.
这是我们的网友半天云哈，
其实也是很坎坷的，对，从小到大好几次，一次又一次的这个忧郁症的严重哈。
So for her, she suffers very intense depressions when she's 13 and 14.
然后又是
She started suffering, and when she gave birth to child during confinement period, the depressions became more severe.
好几个原因的话，我觉得她好几个原因都适合她。对，起因。
对。那第三次发作呢，就是
And the third time was actually during the Qingming festival, the day before Qingming festival. And there's no reason why she suddenly had this depressions. And after that, it caused her physical sufferings as well. She couldn't sleep at night. She became very irritable, became fearful. And when she went to the hospital, she was diagnosed with autoimmune liver disease and chronic hepatitis B. So it's liver-related disease. That's scary. That's an autoimmune liver disease. It's like, and she even suffered weight loss. She shared that during that state, she felt very helpless. But she was lucky. She went to her friend's house in a friend's Buddhist hall. She saw the image of Master for the first time. And she heard Master's natural voice. And that gave her comfort. Master's pictures have given her so much blessing. And from then on, she followed Masters to study seriously. And she also did a lot of good deeds. And also listened to Master's compassionate teachings repeatedly. And now the son also married and have a child, and she has a grandchild. I can really understand her feelings. A lot of time after we join Bodhi, we have a lot of symptoms and a lot of disease and illness. Through Master's method, through listening to Master's teachings, our health improved. And it's like what she shared. Every time, whenever she listens to Master's teaching, suddenly her heart opens up. And every time when she listens to it repeatedly, it seems that the heart opens up even more.
就是我是感觉我们的就是这位师姐哈，还算是比较幸运的。
I feel that she is quite fortunate.
这个忧郁症已经恢复好了哈。但是我是觉得啊，奉劝的是这个修行啊，真的不能停。
But I just want to remind that meditation practice we should not stop. Because although she seems to heal already, it is likely to have such recurrence, and that's why it's important for her to have persistence in her practice. And that is actually a very important point, because she started suffering from depressions at a very young age. She was only 13 and 14 when she first started depressions. The next time when she had the depressions was during her confinement period. That's after major life event after she delivered her son. And the third time was the day before the Qingming festival. So she has very good affinity. It seems like her depressions has healed completely, but maybe there's still something in the hidden. So that's important for her to continue her cultivations, because it will be forms of added protections for future. Yes, indeed. The effect is very good. So I have a present for her. This is a rabbit that I made myself. What's the name?
半天云。
半天云。
祝半天云这个健康快乐。
So wishing you health and happiness,
幸福吉祥
and you have auspiciousness. Thank you, Master.
那接下来呢，来自马来西亚。
Master, we have another sharing from Malaysia.
他也有非常好的战胜忧郁症。
She has very good sharing as well.
分享，我们一起来看一段视频。
Let's take a look at the video. In 2013, I was 56 years old. During that time, I felt that my body was not comfortable. Every time when I eat, I feel that this bloatedness. And one day when I watch TVs, and suddenly I saw that there is this earthquake. When I saw that, at the moment, that pictures of the earthquake, suddenly I broke out in depressions. And after that, I have fear and severe mood swings. I've had this sense of tenseness, everything that I do. And even when I talk, when my family members try to talk a bit loudly with me, I cannot accept it. I find that I have this mood swing, and even at night it was very difficult. I find that I have difficulties even breathing. And I wake up suddenly. And if I wake up in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep anymore. I continue to be restless for the day. So on the day at night, I couldn't sleep. As a result, I felt very tired. I feel that when someone talks to me, I cannot say back. I just stare blindly at the person. I went to see the Chinese physicians. The Chinese physician checked my meridian and says that I have stomach ulcer, and it will affect my internal organs, and it will affect my sleeps. In 2017, every time when I eat something, within 10 minutes, I need to go to the toilet. During that time, I was 74 kg, and I have this sudden weight loss, and I lost until 54 kg. I lost a complete 20 kgs and went to see specialists. And the specialist says that in my stomach there are some white spots, and it's actually ulcer. So I was prescribed with medications, and I took the medications for 3 months, but it was not much effective. But because of the medications, I suffer from acid reflux, and the acid reflux raised all the way. It affects even my ability, because when I walk, I felt that there's no sense of weight, and every time when I walk, every step I need support. When I shower, I need support. I couldn't do any housework. I was at that extreme. Well, when my wife was diagnosed with depression, when I saw her, she was always depressed and sad. My entire family was very worried for her. So when I go to work, I bring her along, because we are all afraid that she will do something silly. So we try to be with her every moment of the time. Yes, indeed, it was very great. I want to give up. I say I don't want to be a human being anymore. I felt tired. Very lucky, and life has given me another path. And on the internet, I was turning on my cell phone, and I learned from Master the Energy Bagua. there's these videos about masters teaching Energy Bagua. So the next day, I went to practice Energy Bagua for an hour. And on that day, I was able to take a nap. I even snore after taking a nap. And after 1 week, I was able to sleep through the night. So I start to sleep at 10:30 and I wake up at 5:30, and at 6 o'clock I start to practice Energy Bagua. I practice Energy Bagua for about 100 days. My sleep conditions improve, the acid reflux improved, and 10 years ago I forgotten how the coffee tastes like because I've stopped drinking coffee. But this year I'm able to drink coffee again. I'm full of thanks to Master. I know that through Energy Bagua, I am no longer fearful. No matter what I hear, even I see a scary image or a sad image, I'm not be affected. I no longer feel depressed. My emotion is no longer fluctuating. I know I gain my health back. I can now take care of my family members. I take care of my grandchildren, my son, my daughters. I can cook 3 meals for them every day. As for my weight, I lost weight to 54 kg last time. Now I gain my weight back. I'm now back to 70 kg. The feeling is great. It's not scary to have depressions, but what's importantly is that you must practice Energy Bagua. Your depressions will heal. You'll be healed from depressions. Because of Energy Bagua, my life becomes more colorful. I have started the next colorful path of my life. I want more people to be like me to gain their health back. So I want to have a new Bagua point. I represent my family members to convey our gratitude towards Master, because now they can have a healthy mother's back. I'm full of gratitude to Master because of Energy Bagua. Wow, so happy to look at her transformations. If you look at her when she speaks, she's full of energy. And she suffered 8 years of severe depressions. Not only that, she also suffered from stomach ulcer.
战胜了忧郁症。
就我听到一个内容是不是这样？他说好像当时看到四川地震。
She said something like she shared something that she saw the Sichuan's earthquake, and that affected her emotions. And suddenly, because of the event,
因为网上哈，我刚才看网友留言哈。
So if you look at some of the messages that people share on the internet, because there's the image of the earthquake shows negative energy. Usually for me, when I look at such image, I will feel pitiful. Is there something that we can do for these people? I have this thought and wanting to love them, to help them, to support them. I think it depends on individual.
所以他这个问题呢，不像网友说的这个灾难片哈带负能量，但是确实是比较看似比较负面的影片。
So indeed, when you watch something more negative, you will have an unease feelings. You will have fear. Although there are a lot of times when we watch movies, although they are fake, they are not the truth. But somehow it will also affect our emotions. I think sometimes we are being sucked into the emotions that the show is trying to capture. Why is it so? That's because we have too weak energy. So if you are full of energy, you will have very strong. So when your energy is weak, when you see other people cry, you will be affected. You will even cry and you will suffer from headache. So when you watch and you saw that there's a Sichuan's earthquake, it affects your emotions. That's because your own physical emotions, your own physical energy level is low. That's why it affects your emotions. She also shared that she couldn't sleep. She has severe insomnia. She took medications, and then she has stomach acid. She has stomach ulcer. And then because of her medications, she has this acid reflux. I remember I mentioned before last time, I did a lot of research in a lot of illness. I'm not a doctor, but I try to experience the illness. If you have the heart, you'll be able to experience what it's like to be sick. I did mention to you I tried to take one of those herbal seeds, but I find that it is excessive cooling. And after I took that, when I was young, I also had suffered from acid reflux. And when I consumed too much of the herbs, I have the symptoms of acid reflux. I let me describe that to you. Although the world is still full of sunshine, Vancouver is full of sunshine, but deep in my heart, I feel depressed. I look at flowers. Although the flowers is beautiful, is natural beauty, I don't find it's beautiful. I look at people that always laugh and smiley. I don't want to smile at that person because all thoughts in my mind are very negative. But because I'm a cultivator, I know I'm just experiencing that. So I know that people who are suffering that will have that type of feelings. So if you suddenly feel that you are very depressed or you have mood swing, without realizing it, you bring these negativities to people around you. So is it like a sign of depression? So for her, for this Dharma sister, she is suffering from very severe depressions. So when you have some ulcer or acid reflux, it is very likely that these can lead to depressions. It is a very negative emotion. So you want to try to avoid giving you opportunities to have acid reflux. So what should you do? First, you should practice Energy Bagua. Second, you should drink Bodhi pure tea. And third, you should eat some toasted or charcoal burned. You just take about 2 small slices. The bun, do not add with butter or sugar. No, those are useless. Just plain bun. Make it dried. Just cut about 1 centimeter and just put over a fire to toast it. And then after that, when it's slightly charcoaled, you consumed it. So after 20 minutes, you find that the symptoms completely disappears. And during this period, you want to be careful is that food that can cause acid reflux, you try to avoid them. One is sugary stuff. The other one, you're probably not aware, but these are cool. These are cool in nature. Say, for example, something like Wang Lao Ji, they have a herbal sweets or soup. They're cooling in nature, including watermelon. It can cause acid reflux or high in acid, as even for coffee, because coffee itself contains caffeine, and if you add sugar, so things that are very sour, cooling in nature, or even cough mixture, cough syrup.
稍微吃一点补的
So what you do?
烤麦片，还
You
有
can
呢
have
煮那
toasted,
个北方产那个小米，
or you can have
就我们
this
沾这个
small greens,
这些
the small
黄这
yellow
个
greens
小
that's very
黄米，
popular in
那
the
么熬
northern
粥和
China.
放一点点食用碱，
You just
放在
add
食用
a
碱容易熬
little
烂
bit
啊，
of
就是它就本身
edible
有碱性
alkalines,
和温和性的食物，
and
早晨喝3次就好
you
了，
just need to drink 3
每天早
times
晨好，
in the
喝上
morning.
一早晨喝一碗小米
Maybe a
粥，
bowl in the
大概
morning,
熬
treat
1
it
小
like a
时哈，
porridge, the
那
small
么这样
grained
的话，你
yellow
的胃呢
grain
就会保
porridge.
暖起来。
It will
快
help
速保暖的话，其实
to
很多
provide
种食物都是产
protections.
生暖热性的啊，所以凉性的、酸的、
So
甜的
cooling
这些
nature,
别吃，胃酸
so
也不容易产生。
sugary stuff or sour stuff, try to
我
avoid
们
them.
这位江师姐也是，晚上她不是失眠、忧郁这么严重，睡不着觉，划手机，划着划着划出了我们师傅的 YouTube 频
So
道。
for her,
哎，
she
师傅正在
couldn't
讲
sleep,
八卦内
so
功
she
的
was
好
just
处。
watching some
她这
YouTube
个也
on
是
the
很有
phone,
缘分，
and she
对
chanced
也
upon
是
Energy
听了一下，
Bagua
她就开始学了，
and
就
the
从网上
teaching,
先跟
the
着师傅做
teaching
八卦，
methods.
对，
结
So
果
she
第一
learned
次
it.
走八卦，她就睡了一个
And the first
好
time that she
特
practiced
别
it,
香的午觉。
she was able
她
to
说10
sleep.
年
She
都
was
没
able
睡
to
过
take
觉
a
她
nap.
就是睡不好觉
That。was the
对
first nap
哦
that she
第
experienced.
一次走完之后，
And that was the
睡了个午
first
觉，
attempt she
Ah.
practiced
Oh,
Energy
that's
Bagua. She was able to take a
哦，
nap
睡得香
that she
甜。
couldn't
这
nap
一
for
下
10
子就
years.
舒服了。
嗯
然后呢，这1周之后
And
啊，
after
她的
1
睡眠
week,
完全解决，
She
每天
found
都是
that
一
she
觉
is
到
no
天亮。
longer suffering from
1周这
insomnia.
个
效果
She was
神
able
速
to
对
sleep
对，
through the
然后
night.
100
It was
天
so
呢，
effective.
睡眠不但好了，
And
胃
100
酸
days
倒流
later,
也好。
not only does
哎呦
3个月
insomnia
的八
healed,
卦，百日
太
之
the
棒了
acid reflux also
对
healed.
这
That's
之
because
后
of
呢，体
Energy
重也恢
Bagua.
复了，人也不忧郁了哈。
And then
啊，还可以给
she
家
is
人
no
做
longer
3餐了。
depressed.
最
She
重
is
要的
able
是，
to
师
cook
姐
3
说
meals
咱
for
们
her
八卦
family
这么好，
members.
真是把自己从这个死亡线上给救了回来
She
哈。
find that
她
Energy
就是
Bagua really
发愿
saved
也要
her.
去把八卦传播。
So she
师
decided
姐
to
很
spread
好，
Energy
她找了一
Bagua.
块家附近社
So
区
she
的一个很
found a
好的地
place
哈，然后跟人
near her
说
home
服了，把这块地就把它变成了八卦内
and
功
she
的这个
changed
修
that
行场地。
into a Bagua
自己
point.
去买着沙子，
She
然后
bought
铺了
some
沙子，
sand
填了种了
and she
草。
filled the
师
area,
姐说现
filled
在
up the
呀，
area.
特别忙活，或以
And now she
前呀
became
忧郁
very
的，白
angry,
天不知道
very,
干什
very
么，
busy.
也不想活了。现在每天早上起来先
Because
去
now,
维
every
护她的
morning,
八卦场，
she
看
will
看
go
这个
to
昨天的
protect
风
her
雨有没有
Energy
把这个
Bagua
沙子吹
point
到旁边啊，草是不是长得更
to
长了
make sure
呀？
that
哦
the
哎，这
area
忙完
is
这个呢，大家来走八卦，说最
well
让她开
taken
心
care
的就
of.
是听到八卦点上每个人
So
的
she
受益。
feels that
哎，今天
she's
谁的
most
腿不
happy
好
when
了？
she feels
明
that
天
people
谁的
can
这个
benefit from
这
Energy
个
Bagua.
减血脂的这个药
对
吃的又更少了。
对，
啊，后天谁的这个弹弓指，它马来西亚叫弹弓指哈，可能就是手的那个腱鞘炎啊也好了啊。他说听到这些呀，比自己呀健康
She shares
快乐
that when she
比
hears
钱
that
都
her
买
fellow
不来
Energy Bagua friends or practitioners benefits from Energy Bagua,
每天
she
快
shared
乐
their
的，
joy
又
in.
快乐又健康又充实。
So now her life is full of
对
energy. She
哎呀
not only
先
help
生
others
也
with
特别
Energy
支持
Bagua,
先
whenever
生背
they've
着修
shared
行
their
啊，
benefits,
别人都说
she
先生
she
变
can
得
experience
更
their
帅
joy
了
as well.
那肯定啊。
对对对，所以2个人每天早上很好，5点半就去。
So now the husband and her, every morning at 5:30, they wake up, they go to Energy Bagua
活动的
point.
时候都去，特别积极。
And they are also very involved in the volunteering work at the
是
meditation
太好
center.
了。
对，
哇
然后我们这位师姐说因为八卦点上很多受益的嘛，她都
And she
经常
shared that a
来
lot of people
上
benefits
健身
from
班
Energy
让他们更
Bagua.
深入的跟师傅学习。
She hopes that they'll be
姐姐
able to
不到1
learn
年
deeper
就有
from
10多个
Master.
人被他接引过来，深深的受益，特别的感恩。
对，我想念一段这个。对于这一段描述，师姐自己的话是这么表达的：她说我每一天目标都很明确。
She shared that her target is very clear every day.
以前没有心情
In the
做
past,
力
I
不
have
从心，
no-
现在我精神上有
Now-
寄托，每天带着责任往前
And now every
很有
day
动
I
力
have
快乐
responsibilities.
浑身充满
And now
力
my
哎呀，
my body is
太
full
好
of
了
energy and full of
过去
happiness.
判若两人呐。
啊
She's completely
是
changed person now.
以前是蔫蔫儿的，现在
对
可是一个领头人了。
哎呀，真好。
She's now a leader.
对，所以帮人哈，哎，是功德无量的。
And that's why I shared again that when you help others, it will help you to accumulate immeasurable merits. Do more kind deeds. Not only you benefit, when you spread the Dharma, more people will benefit. That's excellent.
师姐还有一个 额外的受益分享啊。
She also have another benefits that she shared.
他是关于他的二孙子。
She's talking about
就是他说
her
这个小
grandson.
孙子啊，16岁了，从小呢就不爱说话， 也是活在自己
The
的世界中
grandchild is 16 years old.
让他
He
做
don't
功
like
课
to
不回
speak.
应啊，还瞪着家长啊，满脸的怒相
And she's
啊
full of
封闭了嘴巴
the
因为我
grandchild is
这
full of
个没办
stares
法
and didn't want to
没
do
办
the
法了
homework.
然后呢，他是哥哥呀，对弟弟妹妹呀，还不
Because
是很
the
让的，经
grandson
常
is
还会打
older,
弟弟打
he
妹
even
妹。
beat the
在
younger
学校也不
siblings.
合群。
In
后
school,
来呀，家
he
长觉得
isolates
他这个情
himself.
况其实都是已经发展到了这样轻度忧郁的
Actually,
状况
he
了。
already
这
shows
个16
symptoms
岁的
of
小
early
孙子时
depressions.
常还睡不好觉，
And not
就
only
是
that,
经
he
常
couldn't
会发
sleep
噩
well.
梦。
He
在噩
even
梦
have
中啊，他
nightmares.
会跟我说被人追或者从高高
And
的
the
地方掉
grandchild
下来。
shared that
哎
she
呀，
was
就
being
是
chased
大
by
家都为
others
他
in
的
the
这个健
dreams.
康还是蛮担忧
So the
的。
families
后
are
来我
worried
们这
about
位
her
师姐来
health.
菩提哈，
So
她
what
受
she
益了，
did is that
她就
after
把
she
小孙子也
benefited,
带来了。
she
这个
bring the
16岁的小
grandson.
孙子呀，
And
参
this
加了我们
16
的健
years
身班
old
之后，
grandson,
一下
after
子
he
就变了一个人，
participated
从
in
之
the
前
health
的
and
那种
fitness class,
自闭忧
he
郁变
seems
得
to be a
开朗，
completely
爱
changed
沟通，
person.
爱交流了。
From
他在团体
someone
的
who
活动
don't
上
like
啊，
social
还组织大
interactions,
家唱歌，
now he
吸引
liked
大
to
家来
interact with
参与游
others.
戏啊，
He
也
liked
帮忙呢在
to
禅堂
encourage
做义工，
others.
打扫禅
And
堂。
he also
特
helped
别开心
with
的是，他说
clearing,
呀，健身班之后啊，
cleaning the
他睡眠
meditation
好了，
centers.
再也不做
He
那些
shared
噩
that he
梦
no
了。
longer have
所以
nightmares,
呀，现在他对弟弟妹妹也好，跟家人都主
and
动
he
讲
treats
话了。
his
我们
siblings
这位师姐
much
说，我
better.
这之前是苦瓜脸、忧郁症的小
Before
孙子，
that,
跟着师
he
傅
has
学
signs
习
of
健身
depression,
班结业后，
and
开
now
心有笑容了。
everyone is
看
full
到
of
他的改
joy.
变，我真的是太高兴了，感恩师傅。
Thank you,
孙子
Master.
10多年的忧郁、自闭的问题解决了，
So
我们一家人都太快乐、太感恩了。
the autistic behaviors also disappears in this grandson.
就是我们的这位师姐她自己饱受忧郁之折磨之苦啊，可是小孙孙才16岁。
So this Dharma sister suffer from depressions, and this young
我不敢是这么
grandson
说
is only 16 years
就
old.
像说的
He
可
also
能会
suffers
有一点
symptoms of
点
depression.
基因的因素的影响吧，
有可能。
是有可能
对
的哈。
对对，是。我们那个咱就不细说了哈。
There are
就是
also
让网友
possible
自己也猜，
some
好吧？
genetics, but something that you
这
want
位
to,
这个
we'll not talk deeper
香
into
菱
it.
师姐哈，这个真的很受益哈。
But I think what's important
对
is that
这个他
your
而
family
且
benefited,
整个全家都跟着受益。
对，其实
Your
网友们
you
都很赞
benefits
叹
and
他
your
哈
entire
其实
family
不光说
benefit
他
as
是
well.
通过走八卦战胜了这个
And
忧郁
it's
症
through practicing of
更
Energy
赞叹他的
Bagua
是他通过走
that
八卦
helps
然后
her.
自己从内心去发起了，就是希望能够让更多的人通过学习八卦来离苦得乐的这种责任心哈。大家都说太被他的事迹鼓舞了。
Because of her sharings, a lot of people are so motivated that they came to practice Energy Bagua as well.
就是一个现象吧，就是说你原来是一个很没有自信、很消极的人，一下子变成了一个这样的一个充满了活力和能量的人哈，充满了责任感的人。所以其实网友是非常的感动的。
Actually, we see a lot of messages by our live friends. They are very touched by her stories.
有这样一个就是180度转弯。
Actually, yes, indeed, a lot of people have a complete
变
change.
成一种这个
大反转，
将军似的。
啊，对对对对对，又健康又快乐。
They become healthy and happy, and not only that, they like to help others as
这
well.
个是太好了。好，这个真是不知道怎么表达好。
对，我觉得应该给他祖孙俩。
I think we need to have a presence for
这个
both
小孩子也是
the Dharma sisters
很
and the
优秀
grandson.
是，
主动的去找人聊天
Because he
而且
changed as
很大
well.
方地唱歌
Now he even sings
经
songs,
常来参加我们健
and
身
he is
班
always joined the
好
health and
这点呢
fitness class.
是一件咱们新型的
So
这个
for
八卦
Dharma
衫
sisters, this
这
is
透
the
气
new
速干的
Energy Bagua
防
breathable
手的
materials.
这个特别
That's
好
for
哈
you. It's very
短
good
袖
materials,
那边又热哈，可能最合适。
and I think it's very
给这
suitable.
先生哈，
And for your
穿一件
husband,
红的
we have a red color shirt for you.
药师佛的哈
That's
哎
medicines
这个圆
Buddhas.
领衫哈，
殊胜的。
对，特别殊胜，特别
Very auspicious and full of
还
protections.
给这个小孙子呢，
And
也
for
拍件
the
衣服拍
grandson,
件衣服给小孙子，好，之后再找合适的型
we
号。
find a suitable
也送给
T-shirts
小孙子的一件这个红色
and
的
also a
小
red
衫哈，对
red
对对
T-shirts. for the grandson.
而且还再多送一个
And I have one more present.
黄色小米
This is using the yellow grain, this auspicious bird for you, wishing your entire family auspiciousness.
真好
感恩师父
Thank you, Master.
对，所以我们真的今天听到了这么多的故事，就特别的振奋。
We have here so many stories, very exciting stories.
说的就是我们都想象不到的一个忧郁症的患者，在黑暗中徘徊了那么久，找不到出路，可是遇见了师父，遇见了菩提之后，180度、360度。
It's amazing to hear that some of these participants or some of this who benefited from Master's Dharma,
我觉得
their life
他们的
completely
每一种忧郁
changed.
症可能就是引起的起因各不相同哈。
Although
有
the
的是能
reason
让
why
你想
they
有
have
是被一
depressions,
些
the
过
reason
往
may
的
vary,
事件的刺激
but
有的是可能得了
some
生
may
了
be
病
because of
这
certain
是
specific
各不相
illness.
同但是
Some
我
may be
相信
because
他
of
们今天
critical
是找
event
到
that
了
happens
同
in
样
their
的
life,
解药也好
but I
或者
think
是
they all
同样的
found
战胜忧郁
the
的方法以后
medicines to
就是可
cure
以来到我们
their
菩提禅修
depressions.
通过修行
And it's
通
through
过阿华愿功
cultivations,
通
through
过
energy
做功德
Bagua,
通过
through
来帮助其
accumulating
他人获得
merits,
快乐的这
through
种方
helping
式让
others,
你来战胜忧郁症
you'll be able to overcome depressions.
忧郁症是一个大话题
Yes, depression is a
它
very
是
broad
这轻微的
topic.
精神疾病
It is actually a
但是
very
有的
light
呢说
form
是忧郁症
of
其实
mental
挺重的一
illness.
种精神疾病
Actually, it can be
对
quite
精
serious.
神疾病很大的麻烦是
The problem
患
about
者
mental
自己
illness is that
就一直明白一阵糊涂
the person
严重的忧郁
who
症患
suffer
者
from it,
不一定外在行
they
为
may
多么
have
的疯狂
you may not
啊
really
但是
see
呢
them
就
visibly
是他
from
对
the
很多事物
outside,
的这种误
but it
解
is their view
错
of
解
things.
的那
It
种
can
错
be
误
very
执着是
positive
很
at
严
times
重
and very negative at
嗯
times.
师傅今天特别感激哈，你也教给了我们有一个解放
Master, we want to
建议
thank you that
啊
you
真
also
的是
share
我们
with
要通过各
us
种学习的方法
the
提高
methods
自己的见地
how
也就是
we
说让自己的
need to
看到的
increase
世界
our awareness
内心的
to
世界
have a
更
higher
远
point of
更
view
广阔
so that we can
就
have
是
an
我们遇到的
elevated
世界
worldview
那都不叫事儿了
对
so that nothing
对
will
所以
bother
我们会
us.
经常在很多的所谓的聊天
And that's why a
这
lot
个
of time
表达的所有的内容
in
之中
our
啊
content,
也会对很多事物
we will
表达
have
着我们自己
our
对它的看法
opinions, we will
或
share our
见地
opinions as
啊
well as my
那所谓
point
的
of
这些
view.
见地与看法
And these
也
point of
许会对
views
我们广大的
may
朋友呢
help
在某
our
种
broad
状况下
level
可
of
能就
viewers.
很巧妙地
Maybe
给你带来一
at certain
点
moments,
提醒
it may
或者
provide
是
you
点拨
with
啊
suitable
但是这种所谓提醒
inspirations.
点拨也可能就会
Maybe
所谓的
because of
翻转
that,
你的人生
it may
让
change your
烦
life.
恼痛苦的忧郁
And
啊
maybe from
变成
suffering,
幸福健
you
康
may
快
change
乐
to become a
啊
happy
这是非
person.
常有可能的
And it is
啊
very likely
所
that
以
this may
当有了
happen.
这种翻转之后
So
啊
when you
会从
have
那
such
种
change,
麻木到迷糊的失神的状态而走向这种叫做健康
say
智
from
慧的
someone
一种
that's in a
人生啊
confused
这
mental
是完全
state
不同的啊
to someone
你
that's
有
full
了
of
这样一个
confidence,
转化之后啊
this
你们
change,
全
this
家人就有
shift
福了
is
那你
tremendous.
如果处于这个病态哈全家人跟着遭
And
罪
if you continue to suffer the
所以呢
disease,
欢迎
not
大
only
家
you
哈
suffer,
就是
your families
也
will
多来
suffer
听听我
together
的
with
课
you.
我
And
想听
thus,
一
I
两堂课
encourage
可能
more
没什么
people,
用
I
多听一
encourage you
听
to
我
continue
想学
to
习
listen
哈
to
就是不
these
停
live
下来啊
broadcasts.
这不怕慢就怕站哈
What is
就是我
afraid
们
is
怕学得
that
慢
you
就怕
stand
停下来
there,
不学了
but
哎
you may
慢慢
listen a
学
little bit
其
not
实
here
所
and
谓的
there,
慢慢
you
学
will
如果听
benefit.
半年的时候我相信大家
I think
也
if you
会
can listen to
自
half
然
a
而然
year,
地就会提升了
naturally your energy
我
will
们会
improve.
在之后的课程之中呢
And
会再增
subsequently,
加一
in
些
some of my
关于很多
classes,
世界观呐
I will
哲
add
学呀
more new
和所谓
viewpoints,
提升见地与智慧
new
的就刻意的那
new
些
areas that
这
will
种问
expand
题
and
我们可
broaden
以做一些
your
安
point of
排
views.
适当的咱们给大家
We will
聊一聊
incorporate those into our live
那网友朋
broadcasts.
友你也可以把你的
And for
需
you,
要的
our
一些
internet
需要
friends,
学习的一些
if
内
you
容
have
需要
some
听
interest
我来讲一
that
讲的话呢
some
你
some
可以留
areas
言
of
或者写
interest
信给我
that
啊
you'd like
我
me
呢
to
这些
touch
呢
on,
都
we
是给大家
welcome
来讲
you
啊
to write to
那我
me.
们说一下
And you can write to
我
my
们下一期
personal
直播的时
mail
间是
email.
下一
And
周
during
日
the
晚
next
上
live
哈，也
broadcast
就
will be
是
next
7月
Sunday. That will be
16号
July
下周的
the
韩国时间7
16th
月
Korean Indian time, 8 p.m. and Asia Taipei time is 7 p.m. and it's North America Vancouver time 4 a.m. That's our next live broadcast on YouTube.
好，祝大家健康长寿。
Right, wishing all health, longevities, happiness.
我们下次直
See
播
you
再见。
next live broadcast.
小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，